everybody. This is Cathy, Crowder's Mountain, North Carolina, and this is Barn Quilts by Mountain Visions. Look what I'm going to show you how to make today. Now, this may be a longer video, I'm not sure, but just stay with me to the end. I'll show you, I'll let you take a screenshot of the whole pattern when I'm finished. But you could take a screenshot of this right now if you want to. I found this, it was a real cloth quilt. And so I took the quilt and made it into a barn quilt. And I've seen some other ones that I wanted to do like that too, and I just saved the pictures on my phone. But this one is a Native American cross. You see I've done it in the turquoise colors. So let me get set up and I'll start showing you how to do it. Now, in another video, in case I forget to tell you, you see these lines in here? Now, I didn't mark them with a marker or anything like that. I painted them because the markers fade. As strong a marker as you can find, they always end up fading, even though you're putting sealer over it, and sometimes the sealer makes it run, so I wouldn't suggest doing that. But I will show you how I made these lines, and they're not as hard as what you think that they would be. Alright, let me get set up and I'll start showing you how to do it. Okay, let me show you what we're going to do first. You see all these borders here? Now, you don't have to make yours like this if you don't want to. You do your border the way you want to do it, but this actually is 3 inches, and this is 3 inches, and I've just divided them up so that I could get those lines around it. And that's the way I'm going to show you. But again, you can do it the way you want to do it. So, the first thing we need to do, now again, these big Sharpies sometimes make my lines look weird, but just go by the directions, the measurements that I give you, and yours is going to look fine on your board. I'm just using these Sharpies because you can't see the heat erasable pens on here. And I need to get some more of those fine tip Sharpies. That might work better. Let me get one of those and see what happens. We'll see if you can see the colors. I always want to make sure that you can see these lines when I'm drawing them. Alright, this is a 2x2. And this would be the same measurements if you were making it a 3x3 or a 4x4. The border measurements would be the same. So we're going to draw it off, and the first border, so we've got 1, 2, 3, about 4 or 5 borders in here that we're going to make. So some people don't like doing that, but it's not my favorite, but it sure looks pretty when it comes out. So anyway, we're going to mark this at 1 3/4 inch. That's how that first border is going to be, 1 3/4. And I guess I could use a smaller ruler. I don't have to use that big one. And this one's going to be 1 3/4. can't see it. I hope y'all can see it. And let's do it on the sides here too. 1 3/4. I've got my corners taped down so that my paper won't go everywhere. I hope y'all ready for spring. I sure am. It's supposed to be 70 today and 74 tomorrow. All right, here we go. Now, I'm not gonna start all the way to the end. I'm trying to get my ruler straight. I'm gonna start at 1 3/4, and I'm gonna go over here and stop at 1 3/4. Now, if I was using my heat erasable pens on my board, I could go ahead and draw it all the way across. Wouldn't make it easier, then you could just erase out the lines, but I'm going to try to do this so that you all won't have to be guessing at what I've done. It's coming together. Let me get over here and make my mark, or I'll forget. Are y'all seeing these lines? I know they're not as thick as those other Sharpies. Now see, we're just gonna connect these without going all the way into the outside border. Let me get it straight. See, this pen is already gone. Get another one. And I'm going to throw this one away, so I'll quit using it. My kids tell me I'd win the prize for the number of ink pens in a house that don't work. So I always think, oh, well, I'll get a refill for that. That's my favorite. And I never do. All right. Now, there's the first one. Took us a minute, but we got it. All right, the next one is only 1/4 inch. So that one, we're going to go right here at these ends, and that's the ones that we're going to mark off. So that's 1/4. It's just 1/4. Alright, I'm going to try another color. I use this purple to draw those with. Make sure I got it on here. Okay, there's our 1/4. So the next one, the next one is 3/4. I promise, y'all saw how pretty that was, right? Once you get these borders on here, the rest of it's downhill. I always say that, don't I? And then I trick you and then something's hard. Not hard, it's not. None of it's hard. It's like working a puzzle. That's all it is. Alright, so this next one is 3/4. Well, I guess it'd be better if I got it up here. It's 3/4. Let me put it down here. So that's 1/4 and that's the 3/4. Put that up here. So that's 3/4. 3/4. Yes, 1, 2, 3. Right. Here's 1/4. And then that's the 3/4 mark from here. I'm just crawling all over this counter. All right, we're gonna let me get another color. Well, you can't see that one, can you? Hang on. See if this green one works any better. I don't think you could see that. I can see it, but it's just real light. Y'all, that's why I use those big markers. But this border was so thin, I just didn't think it would work. So let me say this before I forget. See this line? I just went all the way up through there, but you're going to paint all around here. This is one color. So you will erase this line. Any of them like that. See that one? You're just going to go through here and paint all the same color. And like right here. So anytime you got those lines overlapping, that border is just a continuous square. Alright, now that one was the 3/4. The next two are 1/8 inch each. And I would encourage you to go ahead and do that because it just looks so pretty. Look at it. It just looks so pretty with that. See that? We just drew that one. And we've got to make the blocks. But these next two, the 1/8 inch. See how pretty that looks? You see it good? I know you're going to want to do it. We'll come back along at the end and make our triangles on this side. Okay, now let me find another color that you're going to be able to see. I'm hoping you can see this one. The ultra fine may not be what I need. This one is fine point. I don't know if there's a one in between those two that would work. Or if I just need to get me a lead pencil, like a number 2 pencil. But I like making them different colors so y'all can take a screenshot of it and know where the lines are. That might not work. Alright, so this is 1/8. I'm just going to make both of them at the same time. Alright, here's 1/8, here's another 8. One 1/8 and 1/8. It will make a lot easier. And you just use your regular tape for this. Now I'll show you how I draw my lines, and I use another size tape for that. But you can just use your regular tape for this one. When you're painting, I mean. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and draw them at the same time. And hopefully you can see it. Got a little off on that one. I jumped up on the table instead of going around to the side. You know what I thought about doing was, of course, people tell me they like the angle of these videos when I had the camera straight up on top. But I have thought about getting an easel, like if you was in a classroom setting. That's the way the instructor would be showing you. Unless she had an overhead projector or something. Got that one. I don't know, I think this way I got the entire barn quilt in the video and you're not distracted by other stuff around. This is the whole entire focus of the video unless I got something laying off to the side. Alright, so we've got our two 1/8 inch borders around here. So you see we got this border, we got that one, it was a quarter, this one 3/4, and these 2/8. So what happened was this turned out to be 3 inches. This turned out to be 3. So you have 18 inches in the center to draw your cross. This one is going up on my porch. And I'm going to get some, we just had a new porch built. So I wanted something pretty to put up there. So I'm going to use, see I've got that teal color. And I'm going to buy some teal looking cushions and stuff. I think that'll be pretty with that barn quilt. And the floor of the porch is gray. This is the color of the floor. So it turned out good, and then the furniture is gray and white. And I've got some black pots and things I'm going to put up there. I think that'll be pretty. Alright, now that we've got the border, all but this, we'll go back to that. Let's draw this cross. And that way, if you don't care about making that kind of border, you can go on and have the pattern here. Alright. So, let me get out the big yardstick for that one. I'm going to go back to that black magic marker. So, I don't need it yet. I don't need that big one yet. Alright, here's what I did. And it's according to how big you want to make your cross. But I went in 2.5 inches. Flip it around here. Alright, 2.5 inches. And I came down 2.5 inches. And I did the same thing in this corner. 2.5. That's 2.5 from the inside line. And 2.5. Alright, so then the first line that I drew, I connected these. The top to the side here. Alright. So that way the cross is the same width all the way down. Alright, let me show you how I did the other one. I don't even know if I got that on camera or not. Let's see. Let me do it again. You see these lines right here? I didn't want mine touching that border. See, I left a gap. Left a gap here and here, here and here. I got a little bit closer down here. But you see what I'm talking about. Well, when you're drawing your lines that I just showed you, mark it at 1/2 inch where you stopped up there and there's a border. Mark it at 1/2 inch on all 4 of your ends and stop there. So just these will be your guidelines. It was just easier to go all the way down to the border and then come back and mark it than it would be to try to stop 1/2 inch up before the border. That makes sense. I hope it did. All right, now we're going to draw the cross bars for the cross. And what we want to do is go here, and we're going to mark it at, I think that was 7.5. Let me double check. Yeah, 7.5 here, and at my mark that I marked that 1/2 inch off. I'm right here at 7.5. Okay. Now I want to take my my 24-inch ruler. Oh, I'm just tearing my paper up, y'all. I'm glad I hadn't promised this to nobody. All right, I'm gonna put my ruler there. I'm gonna put mine on 10. That makes it 10 and 13.5. I want this line to be 15.5. I want this line to be 15.5 inches. So, if that's 3.5, I need 12 inches. So each one on here is going to be 6 inches. So 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm not going to go all the way across. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'll be 19.5. All right, see that? Okay. Then, I'm just doing this to get us straight. We go down 3 inches. You know, your lines have to be straight or your cross will look like it's made out of plastic and it melted. It'd be all wobbly. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing here. And we know our lines are going to be even. So we stopped at 19.5. And we went down here to 4. So 6 and 6 is 12, and that 3.5 makes 15.5. Alright, now to make our lines in here, I'll show you that. We need to find the center, and this is part of the pattern too. We're just going to go from crossing it here, and we're going to cross it here. Alright, so now you got the center. Now I don't want these lines going all the way to the end here. So I wanted mine to go in, let's see, that is that's right. One and a half inches. So I'm going to go right here, and I'm just going to pretend that I got a line right here. Just as a guideline. Okay? Alright, and then I'm going to go to the middle, lining up with that middle, and I'm going to make a mark at 1.5 inches. I'm going to do the same thing here. This is just to kind of keep us straight. Now, if you had another kind of tool that would do that, then that's fine. You could use it. Then I'm going in 1.5. All right, I'm doing the same thing down here. And up here, before I forget that, I'm just making these guidelines so I know where to stop. And I'm gonna center it up with that. Okay. And then I'm gonna come in 1.5 inches. All right, now what we can do is that dot that we made, we come in 1.5 inches. We're going straight up in the middle. Let me get in the middle here. I'm going straight up through here. And we're going to do the same thing here. See that? All right, now we can make these angles here, and we know we've got it straight. So we're just going to go to the end this way and this way. See, that's a guideline. We just won't even pay it any attention when we're painting. See what we did? We're good, ain't we? All right, now this is a box. It'll be a box. And when we get finished, I'll show you how to draw that. But now we're gonna draw these lines. And don't worry about this. We're gonna come back and I'll show you that. But I made my lines, and you can make yours as thin or wide as you want to. But I made mine 1.5 inches. So what we're gonna do is make some more tick marks. And I'm going to put this one up and see if I can use a... Did I use the orange one? Let me try the orange. I'm just trying to make sure y'all get to see it. Alright, so flip it around here. And every 1.5 inch, we're going to make a tick mark. That one will come all the way into there. That's 1.5. Make sure I got that one right. Yeah. Alright, now down here, we're going to do the same thing. So get your ruler like on 6 right here, because this line is 6 inches. And just say 1.5. And we'll do that line too. Oh, I didn't do that right. There's 1.5. 1.5. I need to pay attention to what I'm doing. So here they are, 1.5, or from 12 to 11.5. So every 1.5 inches, make your mark. All right. And let me show you why we're doing that. Well, let me get this up here first. All right. And so, all right, now, look at this. So at this mark, we're just going to meet that mark. So you see it looks like a feather. And that's why they call it a Native American cross. See that? Like if you had a bow and arrow, this would be part of the arrow. I'm going to make sure I put it in the right one, because I messed up, didn't I? Now, see there? Again, these are guidelines right here. Now, I'm going to do the same thing down through here and on these sides. Okay. I went back and fixed all this so that I could do that. I did it one time, but then I realized that I had got off kilter here. And if you had the heat erasable pens, it would have been fine. You could have just erased it out and started again. But I'm using the Sharpies on this paper, so it didn't work. So anyway, we've got this done. Now we need to mark the long part. So we're going to go up here to the top. You know, we stopped 1/2 inch here. So we're going to put it right on the corner, and we're going to do every 1.5 inches. And that would be 1.5. And let's go down to the middle. There's 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. Okay. All right, we got that one done. Let's go ahead and mark them. See, the first mark here is going to be to the first mark in the middle. And then the second one to the second mark. Third one to the third mark. And like I said, we're just kind of drawing a feather. See that? This is that line that we drew a while ago. to just make sure everything's straight. Alright, and I would advise you to start at the bottom because it's a little bit easier to know where to draw if you start at the bottom. And I know you can probably see all that white out, what do they call that stuff? Cover-up tape. You can see all the cover-up tape. Alright, see that? Now there's your feathers. And we're going to do it down here too. Remember, we came down 1/4 of an inch down here at the bottom. It's 1/2 inch from the top here and 1/4 inch from the top, from the corner, the border here. And we're doing 1.5 inches. Just marking our tick marks. 1.5 inches. And then there's 1.5. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to start at the bottom. There's 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. All right. And we're going to do another row, another 1.5 inches. There. About to do it again, what now? Alright, start at the bottom. Just connect the tick marks. That's one thing about drawing a pattern. While you're drawing the pattern out, it's very forgiving. When you start painting, you can still fix the boo-boo. Just takes a little bit more time. But you can fix it. You can just paint over it, baby. Alright, here you go. Now we've got our cross drawn except for the center. And that box in the center, you see, this is what we just drew, the 1.5 inches. Alright, now we're going to draw this box here. So all this in here actually turned out to be just guidelines, right? You see this, where this one comes together? We're going to just go to that one. And I'm going to try to find something better to write with. Alright. So we're going to try to get it lined up, cross through here, and go from one line to the next. And then we're just going to go to the middle of the next one. And here. You see what we did? We just drew that box. It turned out to be a diamond. See that? You see it? Uh-oh. Where'd that come from? Alright. Okay, now we've got this drawn. And I'll show you at the end how I did this in more detail, but for now, let me show you just a little bit. In case you're ready to move on. All I did was covered my line like that. And I done all my painting And then I pulled that up and I had to paint the gray stripe, and that's what I'll show you. I may try to get that video up right after this one in case you want to paint this and you're not sure about how to paint those lines. I'll put that one up next. I was going to wait till like do it the next week so I could have something to upload every week, but that kind of goes together, and if you're wanting to do it, you don't want to have to wait. Okay, so the only thing we got to do now, y'all, is to do our border. And what I did, you could just leave this blank if you wanted to, but the quilt pattern that I saw had these, so I just thought that was just real pretty. And so you see how you're lining it up here. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to line our triangles up here. And I'll show you that one too. Now you can make this any color you want to. I use a gray, like I said, because that's some of the colors I'm using on my porch. But you don't have to do that. Alright, so I made my boxes one and a half inches. No, one inch wide. You know? Yeah. And I made them 1 inch. Let's see. There's that. But this is one we need to mark it off 1 inch wide all the way around. Now, I'm not going to do that all the way around because you know how to mark an inch off all the way around. But let me do it on just one end of it. Make sure you can see that. Alright, so here you go. I went all the way to the end here and started marking. Let me make sure I did that. Yeah, from all the way to the end here, and started marking. So that was 1 inch. This was 1 inch. And then you have to go up here and do the same thing. This takes a little bit of time, but I thought that was pretty. That's the way the quilt was. And I just thought it gave it a little bit more character down there. If I got my big ruler out, I could have just went all the way across here. I'm almost done. Okay, so now all I'm going to do really is just start connecting those. And I won't do that all the way around, y'all. You could measure it and just make your boxes. You know, I made mine 1 inch long. If you want to make yours longer, you can. but it just gives it a little bit of a pop around the edges, and you're not, by making the little blocks, you're not competing with these. All right, so then whatever color you used here, that's what I did here. This one was black, and then turquoise, gray, black, turquoise and gray, and on like that. So you just go all the way around doing that. All right, now at the end here, I'll do like 2 corners. I just, I started one triangle here, let's see, let's mark these down to bottom so we've got it right. So what I'm doing, where I drew that line, I'm going all the way to the bottom and drawing another line so that I can make my triangles the same size. So I went from here down to the center. I'm going to do another one here. So that's those 2 triangles. And then I had 2 more here, one in the center. So let's do the center one. See what I'm doing. See, I did these 2 here. And I'm going to do that one. And I'm going to the center and making a mark so that I can get my, so I went to the bottom because this is going to be painted. So I went to the bottom here and made another triangle. And we'll do this one too. So we're just going to make a mark here and here, and use that as the guideline, unless you just want to come down here and make a mark. See that? All right, see there? Now I got that one on the outside. Let me fix that now. Because you want them to stop on the inside of this border right here. See there? That's where you want it to stop, because you want to make that. If you don't want to make that, you can go all the way to the end, but I'm going to show you how I made that, and it's just real simple. You take this piece of tape off here and get you over here. Make sure you can see it. There you go. From here, I actually measured like 1 inch here and 1 inch here. And you can eyeball it if you want to, but I'm not good at that. So I went from that top of that triangle, it just went straight down, and across here, like that line straight right here, and went down. So you see how it ended up. See? Now, the quilt that I saw, I think instead of gray, I think they used, I can't remember. I think it might have been gold. So it's just according to what colors you want. Okay, here you go. For the black, this is called Very Black, and that was a sample paint. Exterior sample from Home Depot. And for the white, use my old trusty Ultra White, and that's Valspar semi-gloss. For the teal color, I use Simply Aqua, and that's Valspar Season Flex semi-gloss. And Wall Street is the gray, and that's Valspar. And that was Duramax. I got that when they didn't have any Season Flex. It's cost a little bit more than the Season Flex, but I like to get Season Flex when I can. And then for the gray background here, I use Silver Bullet, and that's Valspar Duramax. So it was only 5 colors that I used in here. So anyway, take a screenshot of that. And then take a screenshot of this. And it's going up on my porch. And I will talk to you all in the next video. And if you want to make this, you want to know how to draw these lines, that's going to be the next video. I'll try to get it uploaded a couple hours